Nightmare Chapter 2. "What the hell is this?" she says as she storms back into her apartment. "Hopefully bacon?" Dexter jokes. He pops his head out from the kitchen to see what's going on. The laugh he expects doesn't come. She marches up to him and shoves the poster against his chest. Misdirected anger fueled by fear that she recognizes but can't help. Her limbs are trembling, knees again threatening to collapse, and she takes a moment to think about her center. To regain control, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He takes a step back and looks at the poster. His eyes grow wide. He reaffirms his grip around it. The page clutched in his big hands looks so small, so insignificant. "Whoa," is all he says. "Yeah? Whoa. Did you read it? Missing. Have you seen this girl? She needs a reality check. Sometimes living in a fantasy isn't better than facing your fears." What the fuck is that supposed to mean? And who the fuck would post that on our door? The inside of our door, too. That means they've been inside the building, inside Dexter. She crosses her arms, fingernails digging into her skin, and waits for his response. Her foot taps the floor, tap, 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 her heart beating just as fast. "Babe, you look insane." She freezes, and the cauldron of anxiety that has been building up within her overflows. "Did you not just listen to a fucking word I said?" He peels his eyes from the poster and looks back at her. Yes, of course I did, babe. I'm just trying to process this. You literally just stormed in here and threw a paper at me. Can you give me a second?" "Process this? What is there to process?" She rips the poster back from his hands and points to the bottom half. "It's literally only 3 sentences and a photo of me that I have never seen before. I can't imagine it should take you that long to process this." Her face glows red, her skin boils. She wants to collapse from the maelstrom of fear roiling within her, but she stands tall, reading his eyes. He stares at her for a moment, a blank expression smeared across his face, then sighs and chuckles. He reaches behind his back and pulls up a chair, taking a seat and patting his lap. "Come here." His voice sounds so calm, so nonchalant. Her first instinct is to scream, to flail her arms around like medieval weapons and hold his indifference hostage until he gives a damn. But he just sits there, waiting, with that smile on his face, always wanting what's best. She bites her lip and takes the seat on his lap. Instantly, she feels better. She feels safe, coddled. He pulls her in close and curls his arms around her waist, kissing her shoulder. The heat dissipates from her skin along the trails of his touch. He smells like roses. "Maybe it's a prank," he explains. "Or have you considered that it's a fan?" "A fan?" she asks, glancing at him incredulously. "Yes, a fan. Or maybe an anti-fan. Not the better of the two, but I don't know. The whole living in a fantasy thing sounds like it's related to your writing. Maybe someone found your address because of your writing and pulled a prank?" "That doesn't make me feel even the slightest bit better. That means people know where I live and what? Are going to start vandalizing my property?" "Well, they haven't actually gotten into our property yet." "Dexter!" she snaps, slapping him lightly on the thigh. "Are you kidding me?" He chuckles, teasing her anxiety, and holds his hands up defensively. "I'm not saying they'll get in. I just don't think you have anything to worry about. If anything, maybe you should take it as a compliment that someone has recognized you as an author well-respected enough to prank you." She bites her cheek and looks down at the paper, her own tortured grin staring back. "I guess," she whispers, trying to accept the explanation. The photograph watches her, unnerving her, whispering for her to come and play, to find out just how deep this prank goes. That wry grin and tightened reptilian gaze. "Okay, fine. Let's say we accept that it's a fan or whatever. That still doesn't explain this photograph," she says emphatically, punctuating her frustration with a quick tap against the page. "How in hell did they get this picture? I've never seen this before, and I would never, ever pose like that. Not in a million years." Right? A deep, barely conscious part of her isn't sure anymore. Dexter shrugs. "I don't know, people can do crazy things with Photoshop. Now," he says, dismissing the subject, standing from the chair and pushing her off from him. He takes her hand and leads her to the front door, kissing her as he rubs at her sides. "Where's the bacon?" Before she can protest, her apartment door slams shut behind her. She finds herself back in the hallway of their building alone, but still holding the sign in her hands. She growls under her breath, cursing Dexter, his neediness and manipulative persistence, but a slight smile whispers across her lips. A part of her loves filling his needs, and he knows this, maybe using the want to please in her favor. Distractions are beyond welcome right now. She reaches into her pocket and checks for her wallet, still there, anticipating the trek back to the grocery store, outside and into the real world, a world of law and order where things that exist make sense, where she'll just toss the poster out, throw it away in the garbage and forget all about, did its eyes just move? For a split second, a sharp movement that could only be detected by lucky or unlucky chance, she spots the last motion of the printed eyes turning to look at her. From the angle she holds the poster at now, the eyes shouldn't be on her, seeing her, watching her. They should be gazing out at the far wall to her left. Instead, they painfully strain to the edges of their sockets so they can catch even the slightest glimpse of their doppelganger, so they can behold her with unknown intent. She gulps and slowly turns the poster to face her directly, hoping it's nothing more than an illusion, a trick of the craft. As she rotates the page, the printed eyes remain fixed, tethered to her like a rusty chain tethered to the bottom of a black pit. She moans, struggling with her disbelief and fear as she continues to turn the poster until it faces the far right wall. The eyes moved, clear as day. They remained on her the entire time. And they still do now, even as she shakes them from side to side. Her blood turns cold. The wiry grin, so creature-like, now begins to curl. The ends of the sharp mouth travel higher and higher up the printed face until they nearly reach the corners of the eyes. Then it begins a silent laugh. Its mouth, her mouth, subtly twitches in amusement, taunting her as it watches her body shiver at the sight. The faint sound of a bell rings from out of thin air as though a pocket just opened up to expose a parallel world. At first she thinks it's only in her head, adding to the stress-induced episode she is experiencing as she is mocked by her own disturbed portrait. But then she hears it again, then again and again, the portrait lurching, laughing harder and harder with every ring. She realizes it's coming from beyond her, not in her head, but from within the walls of the building. The ring issues and she winces when she realizes its direction. Her chest trembles as she turns toward her apartment door, following the sound, hoping she is only imagining it, hoping now that she is in fact crazy. She takes a step up to her door, standing on the welcome home mat, and presses her ear to the wood. Ring! The distinct sound of a clapper pounding against its metal casing shoots through her ear canal and rattles her brain. She lurches backward, nearly stumbling as she reactively retreats from the door. She takes another half-hearted step back, eyes wide open like a deer in headlights. Ring! The apartment door reverberates, shuddering against its frame. She imagines that if she were to open the door, it wouldn't be her apartment anymore. And to the stairs. She's running to that reality, to that world outside, far, far away from the sound of the bell chime.